This Focused Health 250 Betting Picks 2025 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions. Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Rhythm is giving away a $250 future and throwing a March Madness party. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for the details.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not limping until I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today it is time to talk Xfinity and Xfinity alone. Cody, it's like the poor truck drivers, you know, they get all excited and they get these two super speedway races in and then they got to sit on their heels for a Sunday. So I feel bad, but gives us a chance to talk fully Xfinity.
I mean, I guess that a lot of those truck teams need a little recovery time from back-to-back super speedways. So probably a good thing. They've got a couple of weeks off, actually. So Xfinity then gets its own full show here. Little flashback to last season. So gotta love that. Ice Walrus in the chat, Rod. Testing 1 2. We're a little bit late. Sorry, I just scrambled in the door here about 3 minutes ago. So, but better late than never. Laura checking in as well. Says hello, guys. Hello, Laura. Nice to see
Laura. Yeah, sorry, Ice Walrus. I know that as much as we love this show, it's not really the main source of income for both of us. So, unfortunately, the day job when they call, they kind of have to take precedent a little bit. But we got close. We're close. We're good. We're here. So, if you're still in the chat. If you still waited around for the extra 3 minutes, please say hello back because we want to know that you're there. So, this is the Xfinity Series. We are at COTA. We are at a road course race for these guys. We'll be laying down of our favorite bets for that. And, there we go. Ice Wallace checking in saying all good, gents. Yes, sir. Thanks to see you in the chat.
We appreciate it.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, listen, we love the Xfinity Series. We love the fact that we've been able to make quite a bit of money off of the Xfinity Series over the course of our 4 seasons on this planet. But this is a stacked pack for the Xfinity Series race at COTA this year.
Yeah, it is. It's they're bringing out the heavy hitters this week, Rod, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Me too. And then, of course, the Xfinity Series regulars and all the new guys that we've come to know and love. We'll be talking all about them. But let me tell you first, we want you to gear up we'll gear up for March, by the way. It's coming up very, very quickly with Merch Madness. Gear up for March with Merch Madness. I'm going to have to talk to Sean. We got to talk about this alliteration they got going on. Gear up for March with Merch Madness. If you want to go right now to our merch store, you can use the promo code MADNESS. You're going to get 20% off of the entire SGPN store. Get yourself an awesome Racing Gambling Podcast hoodie, maybe a Racing Gambling Podcast coffee mug, sweats. I love the sweats. I'm wearing them right now. I got my daughter a pair of sweats and she lives in those things. So love that. So make sure you head over to the SGPN store now. Use promo code MADNESS. You're going to get 20% off of everything in the store. Get in now. But the promo code is done. And get in there and get the stuff. Leon's Automotive saying, howdy, y'all. Got that car lift corner cooking today. Let's go.
Let's go.
We don't love the new car lift graphic.
I saw it. Did you see the photo? Leon's Automotive there. He said he was changing brakes while he was watching us. He literally was. He had us all pulled up on his phone there while he was changing some brakes. He posted that over on the X, so I shared that at NASCAR Gambling, but pretty funny.
Yes, and so was Joe Gibbs, the Rizzler, over there, giving the tour of his facility.
That was beautiful. If you've not seen Joe Gibbs in his Riz phase, I shared it from our at NASCAR Gambling. Go check it out over there. Interstate Breeze posted it, and it's Joe Gibbs at the shop, and he starts off with "Hey besties," and they insert him saying "slay" like 15 times, sort of the trend lately. So pretty hilarious. It's always funny when you can get certain older people to cooperate with that and lean into it. I would love to see the behind the scenes of how many times it took them to tell him. I have to say, Riz, what does that even mean?
Wait, why slay? What's a slay? Do I really have to say slay? Like, no, listen, Mr. Gibbs, this is the entire glue that holds this whole piece together. Say slay once and we'll just cut it in over and over again. But yeah, I mean, that's probably what my kids feel like when I'm sitting around the table at dinner and I'm talking about Riz and slay and no cap and all that other good stuff. So
that's bussin', Rod.
Oh my gosh, my daughter's gonna eat this alive and no crumbs. All right, so we are at the Circuit of the Americas for this Focused Health 250. As we talked about before, this is a much shorter course than it was before. Obviously, they're taking off most of the toe portion of what was the shoe. Now they're just sort of blunting it out. And it went from about just over 3.4 miles to now just over 2 miles. So it was 3.426 before. Now it's 2.356. And we are in for 65 laps, in for 156 miles, the curves and the turns and the left and the rights of this COTA. Cody, that big straightaway, I mean, that was one of the biggest parts of this track for these drivers, and now it's gone. So we didn't really talk about it much in the Cup Series. What do we think that's going to even do to the racing in this?
Yeah, hard to know. It does seem like they got rid of essentially two fairly key passing zones. So going to be interesting to see. But, making it a shorter course and giving you more laps, now you're going to have more laps consecutively and quicker to set someone up and watch what they're doing. And you don't have to wait a whole 5 minutes later when you get back the next lap, right? It's only 2.5 minutes. So it's actually shorter than that. But you get the point, right? You're back to those points quicker. You're going to learn, and there's less to remember when guys are making moves. You're going to be able to anticipate it a little better. So maybe that kind of plays into some more of the veteran guys and being able to make those moves. But it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the course kind of lends itself to in this new iteration.
Yeah, again, there's not a whole lot of space to go between 11 and 12 like there was before. It's essentially just a very truncated straightaway that doesn't seem like it's got a lot of room for passing. And we saw, I mean, that was really what a lot of that was the last few seasons, is that long straightaway was their opportunity to kind of air it out and to try to find a way to pass. But yeah, we're gone with those. And with the Cup Series cars, it's one thing, but the Xfinity Series cars, we know they race a whole lot differently. So it will be very interesting. And like we said, Cody, this is a very stacked field for this one. A couple of Cup names in there and people we don't necessarily see every Saturday.
Yeah, it is a stacked field. We got 41 entries for 38 spots. So there is 3 drivers that will not make this race. Special entries, you got Alex LeBay is in the 07. Ross Chastain, Rod, usually we see him in some shitbox Xfinity car chugging along. No, he is in the number 9 junior motorsports car. Let me talk about him in a little bit. That's a big, you can look back at what he's done previously on, in lesser equipment, and actually some pretty good results, which I think you're going to probably touch on in a bit. But now he's actually, for the first time ever, you could say the 42 car back in the day was a good car, but this is really his shot at a good car, and obviously he's bloomed into the driver he is now. So that's going to be huge, I think. Carson Hocevar is going to be starting this race in the number 14 car for SS Greenlight, more along the lines of what Chastain used to race in, right? So he's in the race, right? William Byron going to be the number 17 for Hendrick. I think that team's okay. We'll have to check into them. Riley Herbst, Rod, makes his return to Joe Gibbs Racing, a former Joe Gibbs Racing driver. In the Xfinity Series, obviously he's full-time with Toyota in the Cup in 2311 now. So he is going to be racing for them in the 19 car. I'm very excited about that. Corey Heim is in the 24 car. That was part of the announcement last week with him making starts for 2311. They were also going to support him running the Sam Hunt racing car. So this is the first appearance by him in that car this year. Preston Pardus as well making a start in this one. And then, of course, you got your normal big shots. Connor Zilisch, we talked a lot about him yesterday. He's in this race, along with all of the other Xfinity regulars. I was thinking SVG was in this race, but I was mistaken. He is not in this one. He is going to run some JRM races down the road later this season, though. So won't be talking about him today, but we talked about him plenty yesterday. So make sure you go back and check that out.
Also worth noting, AJ Allmendinger not in this race. I was sleepwalking through last night. I was trying to get ready for today, right? And I was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing my research. And then like my eyes settled on AJ Allmendinger's name because he's won 2 of the 4 races in this, right? And so I'm putting the graphic together and I was like, okay, I'll get AJ Allmendinger up there. And I posted the schedule and I was like, oh, I'm not smart. AJ Allmendinger's not in this race. I had to pull it back down and then get a new one back up. So if you guys were lucky enough to screen grab the AJ Allmendinger one, that's probably worth some money at this point. Morning news music checking in saying, sorry, I missed the Cup stream, guys. It's all right. We know life happens. He was working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation on our case against Cody Zeeb and his role in sabotaging Chase Briscoe's spoiler at Daytona. He's glad to be here. We're glad you at least have one bullet for your letter on what you did last week.
I was going to say I was glad to see you, but if you're working with the FBI against me, I don't know if I am glad to see you. I'll have to reconsider. Let me talk to my lawyer about that. I'll get back to you if I'm happy to see it or not.
We'll let you know after the break whether or not. Listen, we're gonna have a lot of fun talking that. Yeah, I'd see, and everybody thought SVG was in this one. Yeah, what is the reasoning? I mean, do you think they're just letting him focus on Cup now and just not
I think they just have. Well, I guess he wouldn't be limited to 5 because he's still within his first 3 years. So, yeah, I don't know. That just the package they put together for how many races. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a specific reason that I've seen. Obviously, Ross is in the JRM car this week. So, although that's never stopped JRM from having 47 cars entered before, couldn't put a deal together. I'm not exactly sure. So, I did think that SVG was in this one. But yeah, it does, as Leon says, it does open up the field a little bit, but you still have Connor Zilisch, who's a heavy favorite once again, and Chastain in a JRM car, which is again a massive difference, and Byron in this race in Hendrick car. So those are going to be your 3 big hitters.
They are indeed. All right, big hitters are on the way, and we'll give you all of our picks for this Focused Health 250. But I would like to take a special second to tell you about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for your Edge Boost card. And your money's safe. You know why? Because the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit check, and it is completely free. You can sign up today. Use the promo code SGPN so you can get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status using my Edge Boost reward. Loading up on AJ Allmendinger for the all right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you my favorite Edge Boost play later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Tell you about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. It's easy deposit and lightning fast payout using crypto. You can head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Let us start taking the twists and the turns here at COTA. So, Cody, where are we starting with our picks for this race? Oh, Cody, you're muted. You probably have some
Let's try.
fantastic stuff to say,
Let's
but
try that again.
there you go.
I just said some great things. Sorry, you guys missed it. That's too bad. Back to you, Rod, for your first pick.
All right, so my numbers.
Yeah, sorry about that. First time doing one of these shows, so my bad. Rod, Bet365 has graced us with top 10s for the Xfinity Series on a non-drafting race. We have only been asking for this for roughly 550 episodes or so. So shout out to them for finally getting it done, figuring it out. Absolutely love it. And oh, buddy, there are some good ones too, and I love to see it. So we're going to kick it off with a top 10. Austin Hill, minus 130. Are you kidding me, Rod? This number is not going to last. Get this sooner rather than later. I'm also going to take his top 5 at plus 275 because I like both. Hill top 5 is a number we've been hitting on for a long time. We've hit it a lot. Can't imagine how many times we would hit it if we had top 10 options. So I love to see it. Rod, he finished second place here in 2022 at COTA. He also finished second place here at in 2024 last season at COTA. Engine expired in 23 and finished 37th. So we're going to toss that one out because you can't really control engine issues. But 2 second place finishes in the races he's completed. Love to see that. That not only hits your top 10, but it hits your top 5 as well. And a pretty good I got to get out of super speedway mode, Rod. Pretty good road course racer. 4th place at the Roval last fall. Got in a wreck at Watkins Glen, so bad finish there. But Chicago was 7th. Again, I don't love comparing Chicago, but good run there. 5th place at Sonoma. 11th place at Portland, so just outside of that top 10. Then in 2023, 9th place at the Roval. 11th at Watkins Glen, so just outside. 4th place at Indy, 5th place at Chicago, 8th place at Sonoma. Austin Hill, a big super speedway guy, was the favorite the last couple of weeks, but don't count him out on road courses because he's pretty damn good as well. So that top 10 number at minus 130, that is hit it soon because I love that number. But I also like the top 5 at plus 275.
Well, if you recall, was it last season or a couple seasons ago? I mean, he was always in the mix. It was Creed, it was Hill, it was Allgaier. I was like, these guys just chopping it up at the front on all the road courses. I think Mayer was even in the mix at some points in that time frame too. But yeah, it was Austin Hill. You're just thinking to yourself, what's Austin Hill doing, mixing things up around there? And that's really ultimately what you forget about Austin Hill is that he actually is good at road courses too. So I love the top 10. I know it's minus 130, but like that's where you expect him to be. And then for top 5, he's probably going to be 6th or 7th. And all it takes is for chicanery or shenanigans at the top to make him in play for the top 5. So I love that. All right. Speaking of top 10s, we're about to hammer a really fun top 10 bet. This one's going to have you going, I don't know that I'm ever going to root for Jeb Burton so hard in my life, but I'm going to take Jeb Burton as a top 10 car, 10-1 on Bet365. I totally understand if this gives you the ick, but look, Jeb Burton has actually shown over the last 2 super speedway races that he's not afraid to be okay, right? He finished 6th. Didn't we ride him? We rode him to a top 10 finish, I think last week as well. And he ended up getting us that in Atlanta. So 6th place in Atlanta last week, 16th place in Daytona to start the season, but he hasn't been all that terrible. Well, once he was good, 3 times he wasn't, but look, I think Jeb Burton can get this done. He finished 10th here in 2021, which means he is in for, he's at least capable of a top 10 finish on this particular track. 23rd, 21st, and 30th over the last 3 seasons. But I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm watching a completely different Jeb Burton this year. He was excited that he was 6th in points overall. He was like, I'm 6th in points, and he was 6th in points. So that's good for him too. So I don't know. 10-1 for Jeb Burton. Give me rooting for that 27 car. I don't think I ever really thought that I would root for the 27 car, but I'm good. He does have 4 top 10s and 26 road course starts. So it's a dart worth throwing. I just think it's fun to kind of take a stab because some of the obviously minus 900 for Connor Zilisch to be a top 10 car. No, thank you.
Hey, I know some people out there that give out minus 800 bets, Rod. Nothing wrong with that.
It wins. You do the math on making it cash for you. That's all I've got to say. But yeah, I like Jeb Burton. I'll go ahead and just take him as a nice little long shot top 10 finisher.
I forgot my lab coat, so no doctor picks at minus 800 today. But I do like the Jeb Burton at 10-1, Rod. This top 10s, it opens up so many more possibilities. There's such a massive difference between a top 5 and a top 10. You know, convincing yourself to bet on Burton to get inside the top 10 is miles and miles easier than getting all the way inside the top 5. And case in point, the next guy that I'm going to talk about after the break here. If we'd have had top 10s last year, Rod, but we do now, and that's what I love.
We don't need to take a break. We're still miles from the break, buddy.
We're miles from the break. All right, well, let me get into the next guy then. Sorry. I'm rusty today, Rod. Somebody I wish we had top 10s on last year, because we bet this guy top 5 every single time. He did cash for us at one point, which was great, but if we'd had top 10, we'd have hit it a lot more. That is my guy, Austin Green, 6-1 for a top 10 finish for him. 7th place last year in this race. That was his first career Xfinity Series start. Oh, we had such a big top 5 on him that day. It would have been glorious, just short of it. But this would have cashed a top 10, and you're getting it at 6-1. So you love that. He went on to make a bunch of other road course starts. 15th place at Portland. That's pretty close, right? You like it. I think it was only his second career start. 4th place at Sonoma. Boom. He did cash the top 5 for us that day. That was glorious. 10th at Chicago. Again, street course, but throwing it in there. He's limited. There's only so much you can look at. He only started mostly road courses last year, a couple of ovals that didn't go so well, but 11th place at Watkins Glen, within one spot of that top 10. Had a rough oval, 35th place, ended up getting wrecked out there. So that's going to happen. But in the races where he didn't get wrecked out, top 15 and all of the rest of them, you get him at 6-1 to be inside the top 10 at the end of the day here at COTA. Love that for Austin Green.
Yeah, and I remember last year watching that too, because we had brought him up on you brought him up on the show, and it was fun to kind of watch him go, and we were like, man, he really is kind of mixing this up. So
yeah, and if you don't know, Austin Green is if you're a longtime NASCAR fan, if you remember David Green and Jeff Green, I believe he's David's son. So he's got already NASCAR in his blood, right? But he's also like grown up doing road course racing. He races all sorts of different road course stuff and sports cars, stuff like that. And that's kind of what we had gleaned on to last year was, hey, this guy's coming in and he's not in the greatest of equipment, right? I don't remember what car he's driving. And so, sure, but he seemed to overcome that most of the time last year. So at 6-1, I'm not too worried about it, but love Austin Green this week. And yeah, good. He should be a solid DFS play for you also.
Indeed. Speaking of love, you know who I love? Every week I love Love. I love. I love this 2-car. It's so fun to watch the 2-car run in front of the 00 or the 18 last year and watch Sheldon Creed's heart just break because he's watching the 2-car pass him every single week thinking, that was my ride. Why wasn't it that fast when I was in it? Well, I don't know what the answer to that is, but I'll take it.
It was that fast. He just finished second every time.
This is true. He wished it was just a little bit faster. That's for sure. But Love, I'm going to take his top 5 number. I like the top 10. That's fine, but I'm going to bump this up to a top 5 at 6-1. 6-1 for Jesse Love to finish inside the top 5. In his rookie season in the Xfinity Series, he finished 8th at Watkins Glen. He finished 12th at Sonoma. Finished 19th in Portland, okay, but he finished 6th here at the Circuit of Americas. Listen, if you're telling me that now Jesse Love in his second full-time season in the Xfinity Series is going to be better than he was last year, yes, please. I memean, the kid was already fast. He was already winning a race here and there, and now he's already won one race this season. So, like, he's improved already. And to me, it feels like this guy's got so much more to offer to the sport. And he's not scared. He's not scared of the William Byrons or the Wash Chastains or, any of those guys that are jumping in cars that they're not normally in. He'll chop it up with all of them and he'll do well and he'll hold his own. And really all we're doing is asking him to get a top 5 out of this. And again, missing from this field, AJ Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen, 2 of the biggest guys that were his competitors all of last season on these road courses, right? So you already knock out a couple of them. You finished 6th last year. Then that tells me that if you take out some of those big names that he was chopping it up with at the front too, well, that slides him into a 3rd, well, maybe a 4th place finish for him. And I'm so up on Love this season that it's hard for me to not consider him for a top 5 finish here. Like I said, top 3 or top 10. If you really wanted to kind of slash that in half, you could. But for me, I gotta think that Jesse Love in that 2 car is going to get it done. Taking a look at who was in that. Kyle Larson was in that race last year. John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Parker Kligerman, all those names ahead of Jesse Love. None of those are coming back this year. So, if he contends with William Byron again, that's fine. If he contends with Sam Mayer again, that's fine. But I feel like he's good enough to be one of those first 5 cars across the finish line.
Yeah, I think especially at the number getting it at, the growth we've seen from Love and how well he's been doing. He's already kicked the season off now with the win. So, not locked into the playoffs, but playoff picture's looking pretty good for them. They could, gamble maybe potentially and get track position or whatever the case might be. So I love this pick as well.
Laura telling me, well, it happened for JJ, for Jimmy Johnson. I'm calling moonshots this year. I'm like Babe Ruth standing at the plate, pointing out over us, calling his shots. If I've said that reference too many times before, I'm watching Ken Burns' baseball documentary. It is a fantastic piece of documentaries, and I love everything about it.
Oh boy, how many hours is that one? I know those documentaries are fairly long generally.
Well, just so you know, I'm watching it now, and I'm still not going to be done with it for another 2 weeks. So we'll see. The one on the Civil War. So I drive a long way sometimes to get to work, right? And there's a little rage that rolls. I mean, I think with age, the rage continues to grow. So the other day I tried to circumvent that rage by putting on the soundtrack to the Civil War documentary from Ken Burns. So it's a lot of 1800s.
So war music calms you down, is what you're saying?
It seems counterintuitive. No, but it's it's a lot of violin stuff, and it's a lot of country folkish stuff. So it's a lot of it's good. No one cares, but we'll come back with some bets. No one cares about my road rage and how to soothe it with Ken Burns soundtracks. Which, by the way, go ahead and look it up. It's on Spotify. You can find the soundtrack on there and see what I mean.
I'll go do that right now.
Go do that right now. When we come back, we'll go over more of our bets. But we'll tell you about something that Ken Burns has not covered, and that's Rhythm. Rhythm is throwing an epic March Madness party, and you are all invited, every single one of you. Yes, even you, the one that never gets invited to parties in your life, we're inviting you right now. All Rhythm users are invited to a first 4 watch party Wednesday, March 19th at the awesome Stadium Swim at Circa Las Vegas. You get free drinks. I should stop right there because that's all you need to get into this place. You get free drinks. Plus, you get to hang out with the guys from the Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Experience, and it gets even better than that. Rhythm is also giving away a $250 March Madness future for one random lucky Rhythm user. Even if you can't make the party, you can still win the future bet. Just sign up for your 7-day free trial today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Come by and use Rhythm to help you fill out your bracket and make some bets while you're out there. A free party plus a chance at $250 future bet. Want it? Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for details. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/PARTY. NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever sport you can cash in on, you can cash in big with Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Underdog is offering a Luka Doncic. Now, this is why I'm not a basketball fan or even somebody please pronounce that for me.
It's Doncic. Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic. Thank you, Cody, for that. Did Ken Burns do a documentary on Luka Doncic? You get a discount for every Lakers game for the rest of the regular season. I mean, I could pronounce Charles Leclerc. I could pronounce all these names, but Luka Doncic just gives me the bleh. Also, for football diehards, pick 'em projections for selected players' 40-yard dash times during this week's NFL Combine. You want to get DGen. That is totally DGen. You can sign up right now with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer and help pronouncing Luka Doncic. And up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN.
So close on the last one, Rod. So close.
Well, they're pulling my broadcaster card for exactly that reason.
If you fast forward through Rod's ad reads, I feel bad for you.
I try.
It's really part of the entertainment of the show.
I listen to so many podcasts where I do want to skip through the ads because I'm like, okay, but then I feel guilty because I know that people will skip through our ads. And then I'm like,
and some places it's to pre-recorded. It's the same one every single time. The same. So it's like, I get it. I've heard it.
Yeah.
But with you, even though we're talking about the same thing a lot of the times, it's completely different read every time.
I honestly try. So if you're out there and if you're one of our sponsors, just know that I value you and I try not to robot my way through it. So, all right. Speaking of robot our way through it, we don't robot our way through bets. Cody, you still got way more good stuff to give us.
I got a lot more good ones, Rod. And one that I love this week, a guy I'm very high on, Sam Mayer. You can get him top 5 plus 250. You can get him to be the top finishing Ford at minus 120. You might be thinking, boy, minus 120. Do I really want to pay that? Here's the Fords in this field, Rod. Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed. So Creed, obviously, you're a little bit worried about. After Creed, it's Harrison Burton, Ryan, and Kyle Sieg. That is it. That is all the Fords. So essentially, this is a 5-person group, and let's be honest. This is a Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed head-to-head, really, is what it is, and you can't get those guys head-to-head. So I think you just take it this way. But Sam Mayer, baby AJ Allmendinger, Rod, we've called him that before. I believe he called himself that because this dude is a road course superstar, and I think they're sort of forgetting that where they priced him this week. So an opportunity for us to pounce here. 9th place finish here last year, so left a little to be desired, but that's okay. 28th place finish in Portland, Rod, but the finish doesn't tell you everything you need to know. If you go back and you remember that, 3rd place on the last lap, as they were taking the white flag, brushed the ball there, had an issue, and fell back to 28th. So sure, 28th at the end of the day, but he was 3rd place on the last lap. That's what you're looking for out of him. 3rd place finish at Sonoma. Rough day at Watkins Glen. A lot of people had a rough day at Watkins Glen, I noticed as I was going through. And I remember back to that race, there was just like massive chaos. He did finish 20th place in that race, but then he won the Roval last time that the Xfinity Series was on a road course. AJ Allmendinger was in that race. King of the Roval, doesn't matter. He still beat him there. SVG was in that race. Doesn't matter. Beat him there, right? So you love that. 7th place finish here in 2023. 10th at Sonoma. Won Road America. 2nd at Indy road course. Won Watkins Glen. Won the Roval. Do you see where we're going with this? Also a 5th place finish here in 2022 as well. So Sam Mayer, very, very good on road courses. He's gone over to the 41 car this year. I don't know that that's, when you say JRM compared to Haas, you're going to give the advantage to JRM. But when he was kind of the 3rd, 4th JRM car, I don't think there's as much of a difference between that and him being in the 41 car. It looked good, obviously, through the first 2 weeks of super speedway racing. Hard to tell exactly what that is, but I think that the Haas Xfinity team going to continue as it had before. So really like Sam Mayer this week. Spoiler alert, I've got more on him later, but we're going to start with the top finishing Ford at minus 120, and we're going to start with the top 5 finish for him at plus 250. I noticed Myron checking in, Rod. Shout out to Myron. Read there's top 10 props for Xfinity this week. We've talked on a few already, so make sure you go back and listen after this is over. But that's on Bet365. So I know not everybody has access to that. Hopefully you're in one of those states that does. And shout out to them for getting it done. Hopefully some other books will follow suit. Obviously Caesars has gone the opposite way and don't give us singular finishing positions anymore for whatever reason. But hopefully they'll pull their head out of their ass.
They will. And I definitely know, Myron, you didn't come in late. You're fine. We didn't actually say, I think we did, but we didn't. It's fine. All right. So listen, one book that did not have us waiting very long, and that was ESPN. They have matchups. I think DK has matchups as well. But I found this one on ESPN. It's Corey Heim over Carson Hocevar. Cody just talked about it earlier. Carson Hocevar is going to be in that 14 car. And listen, let's face it, right? Carson Hocevar, really not even that many Xfinity starts in his career as well. He kind of was one of those ones that jumped straight from the Truck Series over to the Cup Series, much to a lot of people's chagrins. He had 5 starts in the Xfinity Series in his entire career last year. So he wasn't even a full-time Xfinity driver last year. He was a full-time Cup driver. In those, he averaged a 24th place finish in those. He finished 38th at Austin in the Coda, and that was a transmission problem like Cody had said earlier. So you can't really, I don't know if you can blame it on him, but it still was problems. 6th at Darlington, 8th at Charlotte, 36th at Nashville, 32nd at Michigan rather. So very inconsistent in his Xfinity career. And we're starting to see already that his Cup career is off to a very rocky start. He's not making a whole lot of friends in that garage. So yeah, I mean, when you got guys like Ryan Blaney talking to you after the race and trying to coach you through things, then you got called into the principal's office. So this week, he's in the 14 car, and that 14 car had one top 10 finish at all last season. And that was Talladega. And that was David Starr driving this car. They had guys like Daniel Suarez, JJ Yaley driving this car, Mason Massey, Chad Fincham. Say again? Oh, yeah, JJ Yaley back there. JJ Yaley, Greg Van Alst, like all these guys, and only David Starr could get a top 10, and that was a Talladega. I mean, we're talking finishes at 35th, 24th, 24th, 19th, 28th. I'm not even going to go through the whole thing because I don't want to read that many 30s, but there was a lot of bad finishes for the 14 car last year, no matter who was driving it. So I don't have a whole lot of faith in Carson Hocevar's ability to finish better than 20th in this particular race. Now, Corey Heim, can't say the same thing about Corey Heim. He has been the talk of the Truck Series for a very long time now, and he's been able to carry that sort of momentum into his Xfinity Series career. And to me, this guy's got a lot more potential, does Corey Heim, than Carson Hocevar in this. I know he's driving the 24 Sam Hunt car, right? It's not super blazing equipment, but we know that he's definitely very, very good on this. And now he's making the Xfinity Series start, the first one of the season. Last year, he averaged a 17.5 place finish. So if you're taking it on its head alone, then you know that he was able to do it. Look at some of his starts. He finished 4th at Richmond, which is a great start. 3rd at Iowa, 10th at Loudon, 5th in Atlanta. So a bunch of good starts in the Xfinity Series for Corey Heim. I just think he's got a lot more potential, and that Sam Hunt car's pretty damn good overall when it comes to being people. I mean, it's not like going to be in contention for the win, but with Corey Heim, it's definitely going to be in contention for a top 15. Can't say the same about Carson Hocevar. So give me Corey Heim over Carson Hocevar at -120 over on ESPN.
Yeah, it's weird because this is a heavyweight matchup when it comes to, Cup Series Rookie of the Year last year, really going somewhere guy, Truck Series guy who's on the fast track to be in the Cup Series, but they're sort of in shitbox cars, which is interesting. The 14 definitely the shittier car, I guess, if you want to go that way. So I do agree with you there. And I do like Heim in this matchup. The books, I'm about to get into the top Toyota bet. The books actually have Heim as the top listed Toyota favorite. There is JGR cars in this race, Rod. He is listed as the top favorite in this. So sort of tells you how they feel about him. So I think that tends to agree with you on picking him for that side of things. Also, this is a planned partnership with 2311. How much they're actually really pumping into the car, who knows, but probably some money there. Hocevar just got this right. It was supposed to be Garrett Smithley. Sounds like funding fell through, and everybody said, "Hey, Carson, you got some money?" And Carson's like, "I got some money." And so they threw him in there. Like, I don't think Spire's really going to have much of a hand in this car. So I definitely do trust the Heim car more. That being said, Rod, I don't trust the Heim car enough to not take Riley Herbst. Riley Herbst is going to be in the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. So they've got his top 10, first of all, at 3-1. What are we doing here, Rod? He was in SHR equipment the past few years, did really well. Now you're giving him an upgrade into Gibbs equipment. He's now a Cup Series guy. He's really come out of his shell the last couple seasons. 3-1 for a top 10 finish for a Cup Series driver coming down into Xfinity in a Joe Gibbs Racing car. What? I don't even have to give you any more explanation than that. I'll go deeper, but like that alone, red flags everywhere. What are we doing? This is not correct. And I think that's going to get fixed at some point. I think it's a massive misprice. I love Herb's top 10 at 3-1, but then also in the top Toyota market, 4-1 for him. There's a lot of fucking Chevys in this car, in this race, Rod. I think there is 30 Chevrolets entered into what is going to be a 38 car field. Now, maybe not all of them will finish it, but to the Ford point, there was only 5 Fords. There's only 6 Toyotas in this race. Corey Heim, favorite of this group at +155. I like Corey Heim. I think that he's very talented, but he's also in a Sam Hunt car. How much do you trust that car? I don't know. Taylor Gray is second in this group. What are we doing, Rod? Why would I love Taylor Gray? Big Tay-Tay fan. No, absolutely not. Then it's Herbst. Then you got Zilisch, Brandon Jones, and Dean Thompson, who you're not worried about. So something is very, very off about this. It doesn't really make any sense. I think that both of these are big misprices. So I like the Herbst 3-1 for the top 10 and then 4-1 for the top Toyota. And, looking back, some inconsistencies throughout his road racing career in Xfinity for sure, but enough high points that you're putting him in the best ride that he's been in as new Riley Herbst, right? He was in the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota years ago. That's when we sort of made fun of him and didn't realize why he was there. But he's really come out of his shell in the last couple of years and gotten better. So 4 starts here, a 16th, a 26th, a 10th, 34th last year. But if you follow that pattern, he's on track for another good finish this year. And then 10th place at Portland last year. Again, not the greatest of all runs, but that cashes your 3-1 top 10. That could easily beat Heim and Gray. I'm not really too worried about Zilisch, Jones, or Thompson. So, again, there's not for at 4-1 for top Toyota. It just blows my mind. 13th at Sonoma, decent run. 13th at Watkins Glen, decent run. Had a 32nd place finish at the Roval. It happens, right? 23, 15th at Sonoma, 5th at Road America, 12th at the Indy Road Course, 4th at the Roval that year, so a couple of top 5 finishes. 2022, he was 7th at Road America, 6th at the Indy Road Course, 7th at Watkins Glen. He can certainly get it done. And 2022, that's pre-Riley Herbst that we know now. That's laughable Riley Herbst back in the day. So I just think that these numbers don't make sense for this is Riley Herbst stepping down. I mean, he's clearly the top driver for Joe Gibbs Racing this weekend, and it's not even close. He's clearly the best Toyota driver this weekend. Sorry, Corey Heim, I don't think it's that close. Like, at this point in time where they're at, I think that you've got to give that to Riley Herbst. Now, if Heim was in a Joe Gibbs Racing car, I think the conversation would be closer, but he's not. So I don't think it's that close at all. These numbers blew my mind. I don't understand them at all, but I like both of them, the top 10 at 3-1 and the top Toyota at 4-1. Love Riley Herbst this weekend.
So I'll go with you on that narrative of Riley Herbst as a top 10 because I feel like he may be the only Toyota that will be in the top 10. And I feel like that because I'm picking under 1.5 Toyotas in the top 10 at -110 on Caesars. Cody just basically laid out the case for Riley Herbst is the only one. But then, like you talked about before, William Zilisch, Brandon Jones, Corey Heim, Dean Thompson, Taylor Gray. You want to talk about just young guys making starts. Taylor Gray, 15 career Xfinity starts, none of them on a road course for Taylor Gray last year. Dean Thompson, 4 career Xfinity Series starts to his name, and then only 1 top 10 finish in that particular in those 4 races for Dean Thompson. Again, another truck driver making his way into the conversation. Corey Heim, talked about him. I think he's probably got a good top 15 in him, but he's only got 17 career Xfinity starts and none of them on a road course either. So you're starting to see the picture here, right? I mean, there's a lot going on. William Zilisch, only 5 career starts in the Xfinity Series, only 1 career top 10. And all of these guys starting mainly on super speedways and 1.5 miles that are just sort of out there, Brandon Jones, don't even get me started on Brandon Jones. This year, he started out the season in that 20 car. All hail Brandon Jones. Where is Brandon Jones, right? It's not necessarily. And for Brandon Jones, even in the 9 and the 19, he was still unable to get a top 10 finish on this particular track. His average finish here, 15.5, 17th, 18th, 11th, 16th in both the 19 and the 9 cars. So this is not the type of strong Toyota team that we're used to seeing out on the field. Like this Joe Gibbs Racing team, you talked about it earlier. This is a young bunch of kids that are just figuring this out. A lot of them are all Truck Series promotees, and they're not experienced in road course racing with guys like William Byron, with guys like Ross Chastain, with guys like Carson Hocevar beating around them and banging. So yeah, for me, this is kind of an easy. I was trying to look for an angle on Chevys, but you're right. There's so many Chevys. I'm not even trying to touch the over. Yeah. And then Fords, with Ford, you don't have that big of a stable, but you got Sheldon Creed, you've got Ryan C.
Well, you've got Creed and Mayer, and it was also set at 1.5 because I looked at that and it's like Creed and Mayer could easily both be top 10 at the end of the day. That wouldn't be shocking. But the Toyota one, I love. I'm glad you put it in there because I was highly considering it. It's like Herbst is the only one the two of us I think really think can finish inside of the top 10, and he's 3-1 to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bet him at 3-1, and you bet this, and when another Toyota sneaks in there, well, who cares? Because you hit the 3-1 anyways. So, I think that's a great way to attack it. Ice Walrus with where is the Toyota over under top 10 on Caesars, limited in some markets. This is a good time. Got a lot of new listeners this year, and a good time to bring this back up. Every state is different and offers different things, so may not be available in every state. But Caesars has what we call the speakeasy, Rod, because they're trying to hide bets from you for whatever reason. So I'll walk you through this the best that I can. If you go to your Caesars app, you click on the Auto tab, then you scroll over to the Xfinity Series. It'll pop up the Xfinity Series Championship and the Xfinity Focused Health 250. So you expand like the drop down for the race, the Xfinity Focused Health 250. So it says the race name, then it says March 1st. Then it also says the race name a little bit smaller. If you click on the race name there, it opens up the speakeasy. So that's your secret code to get in there. And that's where they've got the popular stuff, the finish, the manufacturer, props, group, winning car. For whatever reason, that's not, if you just click on view, it's not always available in that section. Why they hide things in here, nobody really understands their interface. That's conversation for another day. But yeah, that's, and if you can't find it or figure it out, hit me up offline too, and I can try and like send you a screenshot walking through it or a little bit more explanation, I guess. Why they do it that way, I don't think anybody knows or understands. But yeah, we refer to that as the speakeasy because it's like they're trying to hide things from you, Rod, for whatever reason.
You got to know the code word, knock on the door, and make sure that you're not going to interrupt their nefarious schemes to try to keep the bets away.
But it's crazy how many more things are in that section than are just in the normal, features section or whatever. So again, why that is, who knows? But so that's how you get into that. Hopefully you can figure that out. All right, Rod, you know me over here, big Sammy Smith fan. That's right. I know all of you who have listened for a long time are shocked by me talking about Sammy Smith, but here we are, and I've got a few bets that I like on Sammy Smith. Not, I wouldn't call this a car lift because we're not really car lifting, but I found multiple ways to get in on him that I like. So we're going to start with his top 10 plus 180. I think that's a pretty good number there. I like him to win Group B over on Caesars. He's plus 290, not the favorite in that group. Corey Heim's in that group. We just talked about that. Carson Hocevar's in that group. We just talked about that. And Taylor Gray is in that group. We just talked about that as well. Plus 290 to beat those three guys. I really like that bet. And then also you can get Sammy Smith just over Taylor Gray at minus 115. That's available on like 3 different books I looked. So a popular matchup, but I like that one as well. Sammy Smith, another guy where there are some inconsistencies, but when he shows up, he actually looks pretty good. He finished 4th place here last year in this race. Again, we talked about how loaded that was earlier of a field and managed a 4th place finish. So great run by him there. Sorry, that was 2 years ago. That was in 2023 where he finished 4th. Last year in that loaded field, 36th, but got caught up in a wreck. Things will happen, right? A 3rd place run at Portland. Great run by Sammy Smith there. 10th place at the Roval to finish out the year. And back to 2023, 9th place at Sonoma, 6th place at Chicago even, 11th at the Roval. He had a 3rd place finish back at Watkins Glen in 2022. So Sammy Smith is a guy that we've seen some flashes from. We saw it really early when he was with JGR originally and came in and liked him. So to get in the top 10, the plus 180, I do like that. And then when you're matching him up, like we talked about Heim. Yeah, we like him, and you like him over Hocevar, which is fine, but that could be he finishes 15th. I think a top 10 would be a really, really good day for Corey Heim. And I don't know, like, do you trust that equipment to hold up? I definitely don't trust the Hocevar equipment. And Hocevar, a good driver, not really a road course ace by any means. He's been fine on them, right? But you're not too worried about that. And then Gray, again, we just haven't seen enough from him, even in the Truck Series, to warrant really being all in on him in the Cup Series or in the Xfinity. Definitely not the Cup Series. in the Xfinity Series for sure either. So I really like that. And then just getting Smith over Gray as sort of the cherry on top in case the Cup and future Cup guys of Hocevar and Heim happen to beat him. I like that as well. So big on Sammy Smith this week, Rod. Not words you're going to hear from me very often. We'll see if he lets us down and really takes his name off the list. But I'm sort of expecting just really, it doesn't have to be a great day. I don't think he's going to win this race. I don't think he's really going to be top 5. I think he's going to be edge of the top 10 and could cash all 3 of these bets for you and make it a pretty nice day from Mr. Smith.
I would not argue with you on this one, especially because it's a JRM car, because that's really all there is to it. Because then you would make me have to argue against a JRM car, and I don't know in my contract that it's allowing me to do that. So I love this, and I hope Sammy Smith the best. I mean, that's when you look at the JRM stable of drivers, you think to yourself, with the Allgaier, with Smith, with Chastain in the mix this week, and then Connor Zilisch, like that's a good, strong stable of cars, and you can almost make a case that Sammy Smith might be the lower tier of that one if everybody's right about Connor Zilisch. So it's a little sad because he just sort of seems shuffled back in the mix. Yeah,
agreed. And then catching up on the chat real quick too. Ice Walrus just said he doesn't think it's available there, which is unfortunate. It'd be nice if we just had all the same stuff in every state, but well, this is America. We don't like things like that. So Laura said it seems like the more money would be bet would make sense, but TK with a good point. He thinks it's to incentivize people to spend more on outrights, normal quote-unquote bets. They end up needing to spend more if they find the side bets. And I think there's a bigger advantage to the side bets or these different ones we find, and so maybe they don't want people to find them, I guess. So who knows? And John agrees with me on the Sammy Smith top 10. Shout out to you for that, John.
Yeah. Remember, though, it's a constant war between the books and the bettor, right? They're not trying to give you money. They're trying to make money off of you. And so when they have thousands of people out there, or at least a couple of people here trying to hammer them and take their money, they're gonna try to get it. And so it's funny because I don't know if you got to follow us on Twitter, right? Me and Cody, me at RJ Villagomez, him at Husker_Zeeb. There was a I guess informal survey that got put out as far as what everybody likes and where everybody goes and all that other stuff. But I found that part of what people are driven to when they come to these shows is the picks, obviously, not the banter, by the way, which actually that was kind of a close one. It was like 30% banter, 30% picks. So
that's definitely our listeners, I think.
I feel like we kind of straddle that line nicely, right? We give you a little bit of banter, but we still give you the picks and hammer that home. But yeah, I mean, it just gives you kind of a insight into what the listeners of these shows are looking for. And they want the reasoning behind the picks. They don't just want the picks. So we try to do that with all of them. And I think that books, they listen. We know they listen because we've had several of the odds makers in our chats going, yeah, we know, we hear you. We're there. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a cat and mouse game all the way. I know Laura says she mostly loses, but that would make money off of me. Good. And she likes the banter. That's one vote banter. Everybody else will go to hell. All right. Speaking of not going to hell, we aren't. The winning car number for this one, I'm going back into the bag for this. Winning car number, I'm going to go under 17.5. I don't know why they did this. I'm not even asking. This is where you go and you get, it's minus 120, but they gave you William Byron and the underneath of that one. So, but you not only do you get William Byron, but you get Sheldon Creed, who is a notorious second place finisher in this one. You get Jesse Love, you get Justin Allgaier, you get Sammy Smith, and you get Ross Chastain. That is a gigantic swing, because on the other side of 17.5, yeah, that's it. Like literally that silence is exactly what I'm feeling like on this one, because this 17, you could have set this at 16.5. That would have been a much better proposition, and then kind of juiced the 17.
Yeah, but if you put it at, I think they set this on purpose, and TK bring it up, you don't get the 88, and I think that's why they set it where they set it, because they didn't want William Byron and Connor Zilisch on the same side of the coin.
Yeah, that doesn't make.
But to your point, getting Chastain and Byron alone, and we're going to have a Zilisch conversation here in a second, but getting those two, and if it was the other way and you could get Byron and Zilisch, if you're getting two of these three guys, very clearly, and if you look at the odds, it is Zilisch, Byron, and Chastain head and shoulders above everyone else as they should be, all three of them. I completely agree with that. But you're getting two of them on one side of this. That's kind of a no-brainer. But then you also get the other guys that you've mentioned, and that could very well, have a case or make something happen and get it done.
But see, and that's the thing too. If you were going to bet the over on this one, if it was 16.5 and you were going to bet both the over, all you do is you just put money on Byron and Zilisch. That's it. Call it a day, right? Because then you'd end up, those are the only two. Because who else from this?
Austin Hill. He's finished second here 2 of the last 3 races. So you can't ever count him out. But outside of that, yeah, agreed. I don't think there's much of a case for anyone. Like Riley Herbst is in that group, but can he win?
Mayer.
Mayer, I think, is the other kind of big one, and we're going to talk about that in a second too. But yeah, I completely agree with you. If I was betting one of these and actually looked at it, and was glad you put it in here, because this is also the bet that I would take, just for the fact that you get Chastain and Byron. And again, just a reminder, like Chastain in the 9 car for JRM is such a massive difference over what we've seen him in Xfinity the last couple of years.
Yep, and at only minus 120, that's not even a lot of juice. That's less juice than you get in a mimosa at a breakfast bar.
Those two guys, Cup Series winners in 2 of the 4 Cup races on this track. So,
amen.
Pretty solid point there as well. Outright market, Rod. Connor Zilisch is plus 175, plus 150 most places. I get it in Xfinity. I talked about him yesterday. Did not like him being a co-favorite in the Cup Series. I think that is crap. And I think, fading him the way we did, I think is going to make us money in the Cup Series. In Xfinity, I wanted to bet on Connor Zilisch this week. That is a very low number, but I think that he warrants getting a low number like that. I think that if they didn't have it that low, that they would be getting hammered on and they would lose. And that's why he's at the number he's at. But when you have him at that number, and then you have William Byron, the defending Cup Series race winner of this, the Daytona 500 winner, back-to-back seasons, in an Xfinity car for Hendrick Motorsports, prepped by JRM, at 4-1 over on ESPN Bet. I can't pick Connor Zilisch because you're getting William Byron at that price, and that's all it comes down to. I think Zilisch is going to be great in this series. I would not bet any of the head-to-heads against him in Xfinity, and I think that he's going to be tough to beat, certainly. But when you're getting, it's splitting hairs here. And if it was the opposite way and Byron was plus 175 and Zilisch was 4-1, I'd be on the Zilisch side of things. So give me William Byron at 4-1 to win this race. Second place finish here in 2023 in the Xfinity Series. Not a ton of Xfinity Series starts since he's been a Cup Series guy. But if you go back to Watkins Glen in 2022, remember that epic duel between him and Ty Gibbs? They end up both wrecking each other, so don't get a good finish, but he almost wins that. Defending Cup race winner here. I don't really know how much more you need to get into it than that, but give me William Byron 4-1 on ESPN. Sam Mayer is 14-1, Rod. Baby AJ Allmendinger, the all-time wins leader in the Xfinity Series. This number is way too big. Look, I really do think that it should be a 3-way show between Zilisch, Byron, and Ross. And I think if you want to bet any of those 3 guys, go for it. I wouldn't tell you to not bet any of them because I think that they're all going to be great. I think those are going to be the 3 guys to beat. That being said, we've seen how these races can unfold, right? Something can go wrong for somebody. There can be a bad pit stop, a mechanical issue. A Byron and a Gibbs could be racing each other hard, take each other out, and Larson wins instead, right? We've seen that happen before as well. So that's why you bet some of these longer shots. Sam Mayer at 14-1 on any road course should not be that price. So I like that. And then, Rod, we're doing it again. 20-1. I just can't quit this Sheldon Creed outright because he's come so close. He's been so close. 20-1. I can't pass up on Sheldon Creed outright. So we're rolling it back, doing it again. 32nd place finish here last season. It's not a good run. 13th at Portland, but 2nd at Sonoma, 2nd at Watkins Glen. Had a 9th place finish here a couple of years ago. 11th at Sonoma, 8th at Indy, 2nd at Watkins Glen. A lot of second place finishes just like everywhere else. 10th at the Roval, 7th at Portland. 10th place finish here in 2022. He's been solid enough. I think he can be in the mix. Maybe this is the week he gets it done. You're hanging him at 20-1. I think he's capable of winning. So give me Sheldon Creed at 20-1 as well.
At some point in life, we'll be able to quit Sheldon Creed. That day is not today.
Well, and you just it's not like we're betting Sheldon Creed every week at 5-1 and he just keeps losing. You're getting him at 20-1. So yeah, at this point, we've probably bet him more than 20 times. It's not really profitable long-term strategy, but we're not worried about that because we catch it this week. It's going to feel good.
It will feel good at well.
Oh, yeah, and TK with a good point, too. The Xfinity 17 car did win here last season. Kyle Larson was behind the wheel.
Yep.
Obviously, him and SVG, just a great battle at the end there. SVG got penalized. But that car won here last season also. So another tip in that cap. And Leon's Automotive checking in saying best Xfinity ride Chastain has ever had. Arguably, no, it is not arguable. It is the best ride he's ever had, hands down.
Yep, and so I'm picking him to win this race. I had him at plus 300, but Cody found a better number for us as we price shopped. Now he's at plus 350 over on ESPN. So I love that. I absolutely love that because for Ross Chastain, he's in this 9 car. Obviously, Brandon Jones vacating the 9 car and opening it up for him. And if you just got to look at what he's done on this track as a Cup driver, right? 4th place in the 2021 race in the 42 car. He won this race the following year, 4th place in 2023, 7th place in 2024, led a total of 45 laps around this racetrack as well. So, I mean, very, very, very good success for Ross Chastain as a race car driver in this. And he's not driving a terrible car. He's not driving a car that's not capable of going up to win this race. And you're right. It should be between Byron, should be between Chastain at least for the win in this one. So if I'm picking the side of this.
Yeah, I agree with your point here. Something I want to point out too, on Bet365 right now, Ross Chastain's plus 140, William Byron's plus 150, and Zilisch is plus 175. So these numbers have moved quickly and crazily. So if you've got ESPN Bet, and even these other books, I think they're still higher. But yeah, get over to ESPN Bet and bet Byron and or Chastain if you want them much sooner rather than later, because obviously I think the numbers are going to continue to creep down.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. I'm going to talk to you about something here in a second, but I also want to add in. So I got Ross Chastain plus 350 over on ESPN Bet. By the way, I think that is still up right now.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, perfect. He's plus 350. Byron's still 4-1. And Zilisch is 180.
So, and then if you go over to Caesars though, and if you want to parlay the winning of Chastain between, because I feel like this is a good one too. I picked Chastain to win the Cup race on Sunday. So if you want to put that together, you get plus 5360 on Caesars for Chastain to win the Austin. I call it the Austin parlay. So plus 5360 for Ross to win both the Cup and the Xfinity Series. So this brings up an interesting tidbit, and I would talk about this kind of quickly because I'm almost butting up against time here. But so there was a conversation that was had about getting shows out earlier in the week versus waiting for everything later in the week. And I don't need to source where this came from. I'm sure you can find it. You have nimble internet fingers. But I want to ask, and maybe we can carry this on in Discord, but like there was so much fear of people hammering numbers down. But wouldn't you want to get in on a 3.5 to 1 on Chastain?
That person deleted their tweets, Rod.
Did they really?
They got raked through the fucking coals.
Yeah, it doesn't make
as they should have. And
yeah,
but why you would not want the people that you're like, we're here to give you good picks. So why would we not tell you right now, if you've taken the time to listen to this live or as soon as it's posted, and you can still get Byron at plus 400 compared to let's wait till Friday when he's on the pole and he's at minus 150. I don't really see how that person thought that there was even conversation to be had there. But they
and that's
obviously realized the error in their ways, because I noticed that those posts now say delete it.
Okay, well then that makes me feel better about society, because it doesn't. I mean, the cat and mouse game that we're talking about between us and the books, like, yeah, they're gonna definitely, and yeah, okay, I get it. Not everybody can listen live, right? Not everybody can be the first people to get there, but I mean, it takes usually about a day or two for these lines to come way down. So like,
and hey, everybody's got their own way. Do what works best for you, and maybe you don't get an opportunity to listen to this until Saturday morning. The race is Saturday. You've listened to everything we've thought about everyone. Now look at it, right? Where are they starting? What do they look like in practice? And make your own decision there. What's the number move to? Do you still like something? Do you not? Everybody has their own way to do it. That's fine. We like to be early, get it out, give you time to digest it, and snag stuff early if you can, or take more time to think about it and hear our opinion and hear other people's opinions. And I think that's a good way.
Yeah, and a lot of times our opinion on the drivers don't change based on the odds. We think that if we think they're going to do well, it's just a matter of you got to find the odds that work for you at the end of it. So yeah, it's just because I know a lot of you guys are listening on Sunday on the day of the race for the Cup Series episode. So again, there's still good numbers out there and there's still good drivers that we think are going to do well. It's just we try to get it out early because we want to give folks that can jump on early a chance to digest. And
now it's out on Wednesday afternoon here, and whenever you have the time and it works best for your schedule, if that's now, great. If that's Friday, if that's Saturday, if it's Thursday, if it's middle of the night, late in the day, whatever, it's here for you.
Indeed. All right, get out your pen and paper. It is time to go over our bets for this Focused Health 250. I started out with Jeb Burton as a top 10 car at 10-1. Followed it up with Jesse Love.
Look at that cute little graphic you have, bro. That's just, it's so cute. It's so like, it's cute.
You just wait. We'll get to the next one. Then I gave you Corey Heim over Carson Hocevar at -120. I said there would be less than 1.5 Toyotas in the top 10 at -110. And then, of course, I said the winning car number under 17.5 at -120. Tossing out Chastain with the updated odds of +350 on ESPN Bet. Cody gave you Austin Hill, top 10 car at -130. You got to watch YouTube, guys. If for nothing else, just find the race recap. Even if you don't have time to watch all of it, just click the race recap. I'm trying to do better about giving you guys chapters, but hit the race recap and you'll see what I'm talking about. Austin Hill, top 10 -130. Also a top 5 at +275. He's giving you Austin Green as a top 10 car at 6-1. He's also tossing out Sam Mayer as a top 5 car at 2.5-1. And as the top Ford at -120. Riley Herbst, top 10 car at 3-1. And the top Toyota at 4-1. He's also saying Sammy Smith is going to win or be a top 10 car rather at +180. Then he's going to win Group B over on Caesars at +290 over Heim, Hocevar, and Taylor Gray. And then he's giving you Sammy Smith over Taylor Gray outright at -115. Then he's also tossing in William Byron at 4-1, Mayer at 14-1, and Creed at 20-1 to win this race. Well then, Cody, that is it.
A lot of Austin love in Austin this weekend. Didn't even plan it that way, Rod, but go Austins, I guess.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. That's kind of hilarious that we're giving Austin a lot.
Austin and Austin. If only the other Austin Hill was going to be in this race, Rod. No, he is not. But we do have 3 races scheduled down the road where Austin Hill the second is also going to be participating, and that'll be fun to figure out later on.
I will. Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah.
How many people do you think are going to bet that Austin Hill to win at 100-1 and think that they're going to win when? Okay. Yes, we'll figure it out later.
The books are hoping for it. Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do? Put a parenthetical with a 2 on it or whatever they
it's probably going to have to be like Austin J. Hill, whatever his middle name is.
Why did you just do that? In my head, I went Austin J. Hill too. Like I literally was like Austin J. Hill.
J. I mean, J just seems right. Like Austin James, right? Something like that. It's probably his name. Fuck, we'll look it up. But I know that because we've had Jason White. There's multiple Jason White Truck Series drivers, and we've had them previously, but one's Canadian, and so they just had Jason White Canada and Jason White, so that made it easy. But they'll figure it out.
They will figure it out. Austin Edward Hill is an American professional stock car racing driver.
EJ, same difference.
Austin E. Hill. All right. Well then, now that the banter is completely drying up here on the show, we'll let you go and help you get your betting cards set for this Xfinity Series race happening on Saturday from the Circuit of the Americas. So in the meantime, Cody, as we wrap things up, let everybody know where they can find you outside of this 4-walled confinement.
Follow me, Rod, over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. There is plenty of it. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Hit that subscribe button over on the YouTubes. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. DFS talk, underdog picks. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Catch me on the back road tomorrow night with Seth and Elliot as we talk Austin as well. And a lot of good stuff out there in the world. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow with what we got. Cody said, Underdog, and DFS. We love you all. Thanks for the fun and thanks for all the banter. And until next time, let's go racing and let it ride.